Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Today's session is all about KPIs. Why KPIs are essential to your law firm and your law practice, what the basic KPIs are and what they miss, and finally, 10 essential KPIs that you ought to be tracking for your law firm to ensure success. Nothing short of success. I'm John Kormanik. I am the CEO and head coach at John R. Kormanik Coaching. I am a coach for world-class lawyers. I work only with world-class lawyers. I focus on them. They are my people, and here's why. I practiced law for 24 years, owned and managed a very successful law firm for 16 of those years. Didn't leave the law because I was burnt out or stressed out. Left the law because I wanted to have a greater impact in the world. And I'm doing that through my coaching. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen as I often do, and we'll just kind of take it from there. Let's see. Here we go. Inventory insights, essential KPIs. What am I talking about here? Well, first, let's talk about what today is going to be all about. So here's what we're going to cover today. As always, 25 minutes. I honor your time. 10 slides, only 10 slides, but they are action-packed. They are filled with value. We're going to talk about why metrics are essential to the success of your firm. And we're going to dive deep into what metrics you ought to be tracking. I'm sure you're tracking some. You may be tracking all of these, probably not. And there are a bunch of others that are key to you and your law firm that I may not touch on today. What is important is that you identify what the key metrics are for you and your firm's success, and then track them. So that's what we're going to cover today, real quick. As you know, or as you might know, or heck, even if you don't know, right? I use the RISE coaching framework with all of my clients. What does RISE stand for, right? Lawyers, we love acronyms. So RISE stands for Roots, Inventory, Strategy, and Evolution/Execution. We are in the inventory part of the RISE coaching framework today. This inventory is a time for you to step back as the CEO of your law firm and look around and see what you currently have in place, see where it may fall short, and identify ways that you can help move yourself forward. Right? So we are in the inventory part of the RISE coaching framework today. Plain and simple. Drucker said it the best. What is measured improves. Now, I will say that when I have my clients do inventories, whether it be simply tracking their time, I know lawyers are great with tracking time, but when it's tracking time in every single minute of your day for two weeks, it really pulls the curtain back. So that's one thing. Today, we're talking about KPIs. So key performance indicators, things that you ought to track as the CEO of your law firm to ensure that it is set up for success. Because if you don't know, you can't possibly move forward. What is measured improves. Pulling the curtain back and tracking can be frightening. I understand. I get it. It was frightening to me when I first instituted a KPI program for my law firm. It was frightening to my partners. It was frightening to the staff because it really reveals the current state, and there's no hiding. You can't hide from the numbers. They simply tell the story. And so it can be frightening. It is essential. Because what is measured improves. Just by the fact of being aware of it, It will improve your performance. It will improve your staff's performance. It will improve your law firm's performance because you become aware of these things and you pay attention to them because they are there for you. And you have created a system where you lock in and you look and you review. They're going to naturally improve. These performance indicators are going to naturally improve, right? And so it's really important not only to set up these KPIs and have a dashboard that is convenient for you, whatever form it is. I'm not here to tell you what form it ought to take. I'm here to tell you it has to take some form, and you must be able to look at it, to understand it, to trust in the numbers that you are seeing so that you can make decisions moving forward. Let's talk about what's on your dashboard, right? As lawyers, some of us just take a very basic view of our KPI dashboard. And we will look at these things, ordinary KPIs. We're going to look at billable hours, right? Looking at billable hours is a standard KPI for law firms, whether your billable hour requirement is 1,200 hours, 1,400 hours, or I hear in AmLaw 100 law firms, it's 2,200 to 2,400 hours for associates, right? We look at billable hours. We all know that's the amount of time attorneys spend on tasks that can be billed to clients. We also know that there are a plethora of opportunities that attorneys have, especially at the partner, managing partner level, that are non-billable time. We get it. I get it. Billable hours is one of the ordinary KPIs that we look at as lawyers. I will also tell you that billable hours is a lagging indicator. What do I mean by lagging indicator? It is the result of a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into creating clients and creating the opportunity to have billable hours. Or if you are a flat fee firm, it is we don't use billable hours, we use some other metric to track productivity. You ought to, by the way, even if you're a flat fee firm, you ought to quarterly have people track billable hours for a period of time so that you know whether or not your fees are set appropriately. That's a topic for another day. So one basic KPI that all law firms or most law firms track are billable hours. Another KPI that we look at, especially as CEOs or managing partners, gross revenue, right? It's the amount of revenue collected by the firm over a period of time. You can break it down any way you want to. You can do annually, you can do quarterly, you can do, biannually, however you want to do it. However you want to do it. It's essential to understanding the current financial state of the firm, the current financial state today. How's the firm looking today? As you know, that's not enough, though. Looking at how the firm is doing today is insufficient for how the firm is doing tomorrow, right? We just don't know. Number 3, accounts receivable. I will tell you, when I first started my law firm back in 2006, my accounts receivable metric, KPI, was ignored a lot at the start. It was ignored because we were in startup mode and, heck, we were focused on other things. But when we had the opportunity to focus on it, we really realized a whole bunch of things were going on, right? And having accounts receivable is essential. Recognizing that is essential for cash flow, financial health, and operational efficiencies of your firm. If you have a lot of accounts receivable, you are a law firm / bank because you're lending people money. essentially, and you're not in business to do that. Accounts receivable are an ordinary KPI. Those are a basic KPI. It's a basic KPI. And it's, again, all three of these KPIs, billable hours, gross revenue, accounts receivable, are all lagging indicators. They all come at the end of processes that result in them being in existence. I'll give you a perfect example. I took my accounts receivable for my practice from $200,000, $250,000, $300,000, all the way down to zero. So people who were billed, paid. I had a 99.5% recovery rate for all of my billable time. So the processes that I put in place to tackle those accounts receivable wound up resulting in that AR balance being blown up, obliterated, destroyed, which is a perfect place to be, which is where you want to be. And so you need to look at the ARs as a lagging indicator. What happens upstream? Are your retainers set appropriately? Do you avoid conversations with people about their bills, or you don't have a robust system in place for your staff to have conversations with clients about receivables so that they get paid? Do you allow the correct clients to hire you? What are you missing in that process? So there's a whole bunch of things that go in at the front end, those leading indicators that result in the lagging indicator of accounts receivable. Same true for billable hours, same is true for gross revenue. So those are the basic KPIs. If you're only tracking these, you're doing yourself and your law firm a disservice. So let's take a look at some other KPIs that you may want to track in order to really be the CEO of your law firm. Okay, these KPIs are more than bank balance and billable hours, right? Bank balance and billable hours may make us feel good or may make us feel bad. It all depends on what they are. These essential KPIs are really taking your law firm from this concept of a unicorn, a unique beast, to a business. And you operate a business. So let's take a look at these essential KPIs. Revenue growth. We oftentimes have goals for revenue growth over time, right? I'll give you an example. I'm currently working with the CEO of a personal injury law firm, right, in the mid-Atlantic states. And his revenue growth goal is X. He wants to go from his 2023 gross plus, right? He wants to plus it. And it's a big plus. It's not just, 50% growth or whatever. We set a really big goal. But if you don't track it, if you don't track revenue growth, then you don't know your ability to expand. You don't know your ability to hire. You don't know your ability to open a new office. You don't understand your ability. And so you have to track revenue growth. And you ought to be tracking it fairly consistently, not at the end of a year. It's too late to do anything about it, right? It's too late to adjust. It's too late to take advantage of. So revenue growth. Profit margin. When I talk with CEOs of their law firms, right, managing partners, or solos who are the CEO of their firm, and I use that word a lot, right? I use CEO a lot. That's because you are the CEO. The The key thing to understand is your gross revenues, while an important number to know, aren't really the thing, right? They aren't really the thing. Because if you have gross revenues of, say, I don't know, $10 million, and your profit margin is zero, then you're not being paid to be the CEO, right? For taking the risk. You don't have any profit. And so it's not what you make, it's what you keep that is really important for you, for your partners, for the bonus structure of your firm, all those things. And so you really have to identify profit margin. It's a critical indicator of your law firm's financial health and efficiency. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. Client closure rate, CCR. How many consults, what percentage of consults result in you hiring, the client hiring you, and you hiring the client, right? You engaging with the client. If your closure rate is 50%, there's a couple things that you can look at, right? What is your onboard? What does that initial consultation process look like? Is it effective? Is it efficient? Is your marketing resulting in the correct people coming through the door, whether it's an actual door or the virtual door of a Zoom meeting? Is it resulting in the correct people coming through the door who are ready to hire you? Or is the marketing that you do and the process that you have resulting in a bunch of tire kickers coming in and wanting free information and testing and price comparison and all those things, right? If you got a high percentage of tire kickers, your closure rate is going to be low. That's not a product of the attorney who's performing the consult. It's a product of the people coming through the door. So when you know your client closure rate or your CCR, you can then move different levers to ensure that you up your rate. Your client closure rate ought to be 85% or higher. 85% of the people who walk through that door ought to retain you. So CCR, super important metric. Are you tracking it? Client acquisition cost. What is the cost of acquiring a new client? This includes your marketing, right? That could include, Google AdWords. It could include time in networking. It could include time in consultations, right? The lower the client acquisition cost, the higher the efficiency. Again, there's that word, efficiency, in attracting new clients. This is a metric that is key. Where's your money going? Where's your time in client creation going? It is key to track this metric. And when you track it, it is the client acquisition cost, again, is a lagging indicator. And you can look at that and use that lagging indicator to help you dial in the leading indicators, where to focus your time, attention, and energy. Client retention rate. What percentage of clients remain with the firm over a specified period of time, right? If you do M&As, well, your clients are not necessarily going to be there forever, right? If you do trusts and estates, those clients may be with you for a really long time. It's up to you. It depends on your practice areas that are in your firm to understand client retention rate and dial it in for each different practice area. It ought to be tracked so that you have an understanding of what's going on. Those are 5. Let's do 5 more. Case turnaround time. How long does a case take from intake to completion? I have lawyers all the time tell me, well, John, I'm unique and each case is unique. And it's just the story that they tell themselves. It is nothing but a story that they tell themselves. So if you're in that spot, I get it, right? I totally get it. But here's the thing. You can create metrics and goals to achieve for case turnaround time. You can do that, and you ought to do that. A simple MVA with property damage and soft tissue injury ought to take X amount of time in your law firm. A complex divorce with high assets and children and businesses owned by one spouse or another in a community property state ought to take X amount of time. Unless you are tracking this, your cases are likely to lag. They're likely to remain on your books longer than they need to. Your attorneys will think they have all the time in the world to move this case along. They don't. It's costing you money. It's costing you bandwidth. Track your case turnaround time. It's essential. You have to do it. You have to do it. And then insert the things that are necessary to improve that metric. Remember, what's measured is improved. Realization rate. How many of you all track realization rate, which is the amount of billable work performed to what is actually billed? How much time are you writing off? How much time are you writing off, and how much goes into ARs, right? Is not collected, right? This helps identify pricing and billing inefficiencies. It also helps identify a key that I work with many lawyers on, which is this concept of value and why we write off time. I will tell you, by the end of my legal career, before I pivoted full-time into coaching, I wrote off 0 of my time because I was effective, I was efficient, and I was confident that the time that was on the books was the time that I ought to be paid for. Realization rate. Employee satisfaction. How's your staff doing, right? What's the turnover? Because turnover, especially for well-trained associates, that 3 to 5 year range of associates where they're on the partnership track, they're moving along. When they leave, it costs law firms between $200,000 and $500,000 to replace them, given the lost opportunity, the time and effect and necessity of recruiting, all those things. So what is the satisfaction of your staff? And if it's not your staff, if you're a solo, what's your satisfaction? How are you doing? How satisfied are you with this thing that you've created? If you're the managing partner of a mid-sized law firm, how's the staff doing? How are you doing? What's your ratio of leadership and management to legal work? And are you satisfied with that? Because if you're not, and if your staff's not satisfied, it's going to be burnout and turnover. Client satisfaction. Do you measure client satisfaction? Do you send out questionnaires throughout the engagement? How are we doing? You have to do that. Gauging client satisfaction is essential because we all know at the end of the day, our most effective and efficient referral source is former clients because they know exactly what we do. They know exactly how we do it. And if they are 100% satisfied, 5-star review, insert your metric here, they're going to not only be former clients, they're going to be evangelists for you and your firm. And that is free advertising. That is free if you satisfy them. So you have to measure client satisfaction. Finally, human capital leverage ratio. That's a mouthful. It's a tongue twister. What's the makeup of your firm? What's the ratio of non-partner attorneys to partners? You have to understand this. and set it and gauge it and move towards ideal always for all of these KPIs. It's always moving towards ideal, and you get to define ideal. You want help, reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation about what ideal may look like for you. The HCLR helps understanding the firm's staffing model and its impact on profitability and work distribution. Do you have the work coming in? Is it going to the correct people to do, right? Human capital leverage ratio. Those are another essential KPI. As a CEO of your law firm, your decisions must be, in large part, data-driven. If you want to know more about the RISE coaching framework, KPIs, or other essential aspects of the inventory process of the RISE framework, email me, john@johnorkormanik.com. You can bop over to my website, www.johnorkormanik.com, and book a 30-minute discovery session with me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's it. There's our time. Metrics, they will drive your law firm forward. They are essential to taking you from where you are today to where you want to be in the future. Thanks. I'll see you next time.